Live from Fishers, Indiana, it's time for Ask the Pool Experts.
gosh, you're still here.
Welcome back. Now we're here for real.
So sorry about little minor technical difficulties. Obviously, it is live, and we're just proving that. So I guess you didn't hear, but I'm Annie, and I've been in the pool industry for 25 years doing everything. A jack of all trades, so to speak, and I've been with Thursday here for the last 9. So that's where I come from, and I'm excited to help answer your questions today.
Hi, I'm Pilar, and I've been in the manufacturing area for 9 years and sales, and I'm the right person to talk with you.
That's right.
Hi, and I'm Jonathan. Welcome, homeowners. So apparently 9 is the number because I was in project management for residential construction for 9 years, then moved to an excavation company and ran their fiberglass pool division for about 9 years until I came here to Thursday. So I was a Thursday Pools dealer before I came here. So excited for the opportunity to share any of that knowledge with you guys. So I'm glad for the questions. Excited to be able to answer those.
Yeah, me too.
We are very happy to have you in the house.
Thank you.
Give it up for Jonathan.
All right.
So before we start on the list of questions, we did get several questions about pool cost, and it's probably the one question that we're not going to answer today.
Aww.
I know, darn it. Jonathan, why don't you tell them why that's something that we really can't answer?
Yeah, well, actually, there's just too many things that go into everyone's project. So, every single project is different, and we're not just saying with that dealer specifically, but all around the nation, there's different ways to install the pools, and that's based on products that are available and the type of earth that they're dealing with, and there's just too many variables. So instead we created that pool cost calculator on the website. So we would absolutely recommend you go there, and that gives you a pretty good range. Should give you some idea of what to expect.
Absolutely. All
That
right,
is
Pilar,
good.
what we
Okay,
got?
we're gonna try to respond all the questions. Hopefully we have time, but we're gonna start right now. Okay, this is from Rennie.
Rennie.
Yes, hi Rennie. Thank you for typing. I live in Southwest Michigan, and I would like to know if you can have a pool with a built-in hot tub open year-round.
Yes, Rennie. I get the short answer is yes.
It
but
is possible.
There is a lot of things that you need to consider, and you need to discuss with your pool builder first. But Jonathan's probably got some really good information on
Yeah, I
things
probably
you
have
should
too
think
much
about.
information for this for now. But honestly, I think one is comfort level of that builder. Because keep in mind, if there's any ever issues at all, you're going to need to contact them, and they're going to need to come over and help you through those issues. So the main priority, other than temperature, of course, is moving water. So you have to have that water moving 24/7 all winter long. And so you can do that with timers and things and automation and all that. But every time you add another level of what you think is protection, it's just actually another thing that can fail. And so when that fails, now you have to fix that and then fix another thing. So I guess short answer is yes, you can. Typically, like an automatic cover isn't going to cover that. If you install it with the automatic cover over it, then you can't count on being able to operate that automatic cover. So we had done a couple, actually. I was in northern Indiana, close to southern Michigan, and so we had done a couple of those, and they actually purchased a custom spa cover.
Yeah, I think
just like for a hot tub.
For installation purposes.
Yeah, and spa really is the key word. So think of that more as what you would find.
Hot, bubbly water.
Yeah, at like a resort. So you go to a resort and there's, it's hot, bubbly water, but that's really it. It's not a hot tub with 100 different jets and all this hydrotherapy stuff and everything else. So it has a lot of benefits from aesthetics because it's in the ground and it's built in. So it's just really what you're looking for, that hot tub experience or just a spa that's kind of built into the ground.
Right. The only other comment I would add is just make sure that you manage your expectations with your pool builder.
Yeah.
So if you know you want to be able to use that spa, that part of the pool all year round, when you winterize the pool, then they have to be built on separate systems, and so you just need to make sure that you're with your builder what you really want, and just manage those expectations.
Yes.
And always, if you're going to do that, I would have a backup generator, right?
That's a great.
Especially if you live in Southwest Michigan. So cool.
Right.
Thanks, Rennie.
All right. Anonymous, what if my residential lot has previous restrictions based on a local ordinances? What counts against my impervious square footage cap and what doesn't? Are there ways to work around it?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Jonathan?
So impervious basically has to do with the ability for your property to handle water. So a lot of, even with building trades, you're supposed to be able to manage your water on your property. So this is different for every local building.
Yeah.
So if you're getting the permit, then you can get that information. If your builder's getting the permit, then they can get the information. Some local entities require you to have a percentage of available land to be able to deal with the water, and some don't. So the ones who
I would say most don't.
I would
Would
think
that-
so.
that's
I would think
accurate.
so. And just again, what it has to deal with is things like a driveway or the house or the pool and the pool concrete or pavers.
Right.
Any of those types of things that aren't going to absorb water. They, in that instance,
Right.
are going to limit your percentage of your property that has those things. And the whole reason, again, is to have a certain percentage of your property that's able to drain that water and receive that water. So a lot of times you'll see retention ponds in commercial projects or in residential subdivisions, and that's part of that situation. They're dealing with their percentage of impervious material. So
Great.
And another thought on that is, when you are thinking about building a swimming pool or looking at a lot, regardless of whether you have impervious restrictions, pull a plot plan. Take
Yeah.
a look at the lot, because there's lots of them that have easements, drainage easements, things that you cannot put a pool on.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to check those things out ahead of time.
septic systems are
Oh,
huge.
there you go.
Where
Septic,
we
yeah.
were, there were so many people who purchased homes and they were just so excited to have a pool and so disappointed to hear that by the time you have your septic system and then
Right.
your reserve septic area and then all these easements that were on the property they weren't aware of, that they couldn't get a pool.
Yeah, just because it looks like a big, beautiful backyard,
Right.
it doesn't mean that you have a big, beautiful backyard that you can put a pool in.
And so how do you know all of that? Honestly, you should be able to go to the local building department and or health department, and
Okay.
they should have some record of that. Maybe even the tax department.
Or
Right.
if you do an appraisal to your house,
Sure.
I'm pretty sure you can get that too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to get that information without needing to actually pay for a surveyor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good call.
All right, the next question.
Yes, well-
How does fiberglass pools handle salt and water chemistry? We get that question a lot.
Yeah. A lot of people, when they're calling for a fiberglass pool, they're like, oh, I really want a salt pool. Is this a great combination? So I know Jonathan deals with a lot of after the market and homeowners that actually have the fiberglass pool installed with a salt system. So maybe you have
Yeah.
a better opinion on that.
And there's a lot of misunderstanding, and at the beginning I thought the same thing. You think, okay, salt means no chlorine, but actually it is chlorine. Can you explain it to us?
Yeah, so I think what we would always tell people, so you're looking for the least maintenance overall project as possible, right? And so you're going with fiberglass because you like its ability to be the least maintenance required pool on the market, and that's fantastic, of course. So what else can you do to kind of spend more time at the pool instead of more time working on the pool? So salt systems kind of came into the market somewhat for that, and then also for their health benefits. So there's definitely health benefits as far as for your skin and your eyes and less irritation, and it's definitely more friendly for those types of things. But there's also the concept of this set it and forget it. So if we start talking about all of that, then someone thinks, okay, if I have a salt system, then I don't have to do this or I don't have to do that. But realistically, I feel like you almost have to check it more often. Because what you're really looking for is that chlorine. That salt system is producing that chlorine for you. So whereas
Non-stop.
yeah, as long as it's on,
Right.
and you turn the percentage so that it's producing whatever percent of the time you want it to. But as long as it's on, it's producing. Unlike chlorine tabs, where you're putting those tabs in every week, and so that's could be a hassle. But you're aware of what you're putting in.
Right.
So, if you're gone for a week on vacation or you haven't thought to look at your salt cell for a while and you haven't checked your water chemistry, then that could be producing way more chlorine than what is demanded.
Yeah, what you even
And
need.
plus,
Right.
if you have an auto cover
Yeah.
and you don't open it, what will happen?
Exacerbates the issue.
Yeah, so
sure.
yeah, we're talking about that demand again. And in the summer, the demand is always going to be the highest. So especially with an automatic cover, but then you have the sun, you have the bather load, you have all these different things where you'll be turning that salt cell up so that it's producing more to deal with the demand. But then if you don't think about it and you forget about it, then come fall when the temperatures have dropped, when
they go back to school,
the kids are back at school, and you're working or you're relaxing because the kids are finally back at school, all of a sudden you're producing way more chlorine than what you need, and it's not as simple as just turning that dial from say 80 or 60 or 50 down to 20. Because you already have too much. So you have to literally turn it off. Producing even 5% when you already have too much is still adding to what you have.
Right.
And sometimes what could happen too is like you have a lot of people, you crank it a little bit, and then you forget about it, and then you leave it like that. And then 4 days later, you're like, I forgot to turn it down a little bit, and they're very sensitive.
Yeah, we would tell people, I mean, one of the things I do like about it, other than all the health benefits, is, it has those, you can shock or super chlorinate, basically, just with the touch of a button, and it does it for 24 hours, and so we would kind of recommend that you do it like before your party. So if you're having a party on Saturday and your bather load is going to be high, then hit that button first. It's going to kind of give you a little bit of extra chlorine before they get there, and then you're kind of back to normal. But again, the nice thing is it automatically will revert back to whatever percentage you have the dial set at. So rather than moving the dial and forgetting, if you move the dial, it's going to stay there. If you just hit that shock button or superchlorinate button,
good call.
It'll go back.
Just a broader topic though on water chemistry. Folks, in the end, you're ultimately responsible for taking care of your pool. So you have to make sure that you keep it in check, that it is balanced, so that it lengthens the life of your pool equipment, your pool, regardless of what type that you have.
Yeah, and fiberglass pools are, sorry, Pilar.
No, it's
fiberglass
okay.
pools are, amazing, but what one of the things I would say is they're still newer to the marketplace. They've been in the market for a long time, but as far as all of these pool stores who have been doing water chemistry forever may not have that much experience with fiberglass. And the reason I bring this up is when we speak water chemistry, make sure you share with those pool store companies who are testing your water our recommendations for what the water level should be, for what that water chemistry should be.
That's a good point. Our owner's manual is available online for anyone to download, which has water chemistry recommendations. So be sure to
And
check
another
it out.
tip.
Yeah.
You can buy the kit, it's with the drops, and then you do it. It takes only like 3 minutes or less than 3 minutes to check your water chemistry, and you can check it out if they're even, like with the system that you have and your own testing. And you can do it once a week just to make sure. Right?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Now,
Cool.
next question. All right, Phil, thank you. And will the pool shell warranty be affected if it's installed by my excavation company and not a pool dealer? Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know a lot of folks are trying to get a pool in quickly this year and trying to kind of skirt the system. So your pool dealer is ultimately responsible for making sure that your pool has been installed properly. If it's installed properly, no problem, you have a warranty. If it's not installed properly, then your warranty could be voided. So your excavating company that you is a friend might not follow the same procedures that are required at Thursday Pool, so you may not have a warranty. Phil?
Yeah.
Do you have an input in that? I would just say sometimes you think you're gonna save a little bit money doing it that way, and it could cost later on more.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind that.
I would say, I love excavating companies, so nothing against excavation companies. They're fantastic. I love our dealers who are excavation companies, but it all comes down to the rules. Bias, yes, a little bit. So it all comes down to, I said rules, but I should say our suggestions for our recommendations for how it should really be installed to make sure that warranty is going to be there, and your basically lifetime structural warranty is in place. So
Don't feel bad, because it could be in concrete too. We just mentioned it excavation, but it's not against you, all right?
No, it's not.
All right, next question. Pros and cons of saltwater pools. We
Saltwater
already
again.
kinda
I told
talked.
you we got that question a lot.
Yes.
So there are some pros, right? You don't have to handle the chlorine.
Yeah.
Good bathing suits.
Yeah. It is softer on your skin. It's supposed to give you some softer on your hair, less harsh, for sure. And I'm not really sure if there's anything else I would add pro-wise
well,
on that.
you know, when you that smell that everybody talks about, you know, you go into the hotel and you smell that smell and are like, oh, they must treat their pool properly or something. Well, no. That smell means there's issues. That smell means there's a lot of stuff that's being killed, actually. So you don't want that smell. So maybe stay away if you smell that. But same thing kind of at your own pool. You know, if you have a large bathing load or a big party or something else, the salt does a better job, if you will, at kind of reducing all of that harshness. So that's, again, I would have I had a saltwater pool at my home. We moved. We're going to do a saltwater pool again. We love saltwater, but
I have mine with the saltwater and the light.
The UV.
The UV light, and also.
So the drawback is it does a great job at producing chlorine. Right, and so that's the drawback too, because you know it is sold oftentimes, as Jonathan mentioned earlier, set it and forget it.
Right.
And so it's constantly building up chlorine, and I've seen pools get way out of whack very quickly. So that would just be one thing that I would caution you about. I would also like to mention there's lots of other options that give you the same benefits as a salt pool, but aren't continually to produce chlorine and build that up.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Why do installers have to use some pumps with fiberglass pools, and what kind do they use?
Jenny?
Well, you know, you do need a well pit around a fiberglass pool just to access groundwater if you were to ever lower the fiberglass pool
And what
water.
is a well pit? Basically a pipe.
Yes, that you can drop a sump pump into
Right.
if you need to get the groundwater away.
So typically it's just an 8-inch or larger pipe, and it's 8 inches because most of the pumps that you would go buy at we're not sponsored here, so any of the local hardware stores
next time sponsorship.
that you could purchase one of those pumps, get them down into that 8-inch line. Can they do larger? Absolutely. But the whole point is, if for any reason you need to drain that pool,
But you don't drain it.
when I say you, I mean it needs to be drained
for warranty purposes or whatever.
If for any reason at all, we're going to access that to make sure there's no water around the outside of the pool. And if there is, then it gives us the opportunity to put a pump down there to get that pumped out. So it also has to be dry in order to install the pool. Sometimes you install the pool and then the groundwater finds its way, path of least resistance, to around the outside of the pool. That's not cause for alarm. It's okay to have water. Once the fiberglass pool is there, it's okay to have that water around the outside of the pool. The only stipulation there is we would like to see 2 feet of elevation change. So the water in the pool should be 2 feet higher than the water around the outside of the pool. And as long as you have that situation, then the water can be there and we're fine.
And it's easy. You just can't see it, literally, right?
Yeah.
And it's not going to ruin your decoration around the pool because it's going to look exactly the same as the skimmer lid. Then it's not going to cause any cosmetic issues.
Yeah, the lid to the well pit, you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I would say though, that is different than vinyl pools, which constantly have to be monitored. The groundwater constantly has to be monitored. So one for fiberglass right
Pro.
there. We are biased for fiberglass.
Check. Okay, next.
Next question. Okay, hi Andrew. Okay, our home that is currently being built, we have 9 feet wide side yard. Air conditioned units will be on the same side. We've been told that those units will need to be removed so that excavating equipment can access the backyard. It seems that there are homes with much smaller side yards that manage to have to pool bills. Is this common?
Yes.
Yep. So that all comes down
check, Andrew,
to
check. Yep.
to really that installer. So if the installer comes from a landscaping background, then they're going to have smaller equipment that they use for landscaping. If they come from an excavation background, then they're going to have huge equipment from doing all of their excavation work. So it just depends on where they come from, their background. And so, an excavation company is going to require probably more room because they have larger equipment and they're going to get in and get out probably a little bit quicker. But again, it's really just dealer specific. So it depends on the dealer that you're going to use. Ultimately, they have to get the pool back there, right, as well. Yeah. So trees and light posts and fences and all kinds of different things. Yeah, all of that, they have to get from the street to the backyard. So there's always going to be a path that's going to get tore up completely. Yeah. Be prepared for that.
And if it's only 9 feet for you, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever had just 9 feet, but in those cases, where we had tight spaces, we would use, a smaller mini excavator. We would go over the driveway, but when you do that, you just have to have the conversation that if that's the only access, we would strongly prefer to never use the driveway. But if that's the only access and you're giving permission, then basically you're okay with that driveway potentially getting damaged in order to get that pool back there. So anyway, have those conversations with the people that you're talking to get prices from. How are they going to access the backyard? What type of equipment are they going to use? It's not uncommon to move an AC unit. We actually did that ourselves also.
Right, there you go.
All right, good question. All right, it is still possible to have fiberglass pool installed this summer? Okay, I'm sorry.
If you were in contract last year,
Good
then
you
can get a pool this summer.
This year.
Realistically, I think with everyone's backlog, most people are through this year, let alone the summer. Some people are even through next year already. So
and sometimes I have phone calls and they start preparing and it's like 2 years and ahead. That way you give the chance to the installers to put you in the list or lineup of installation.
Yeah, so there was a lot of pent-up demand in the industry prior to COVID, and so COVID obviously just took it off.
Yeah, I think that might be another question that's coming. Like what?
I think so, but yeah.
So probably
not likely.
Probably not this summer.
Not
You'll
likely.
be very lucky if that happens, but most likely it's like no.
If you're just starting, right? If you're just looking for someone now, most likely not.
So that to your point though, our manufacturing lead time is 16 to 20 weeks. So that's 4 to 5 months just for us to produce the shell. But the pool builders aren't waiting on us. They are farther out than that.
And they're the ones that they tell us what date they want this pool to come into their house. It's not up to us. Just make sure that you talk about that, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next question. During the installation process of the fiberglass pool, what are the most critical steps with regarding to backfilling? And what is done to ensure a proper install?
Well, all of them are important, right? All of the steps.
Every detail.
So for you, I guess to kind of watch what's happening, I suppose. So stone is important. We are always going to recommend stone, not sand, not the dirt that they took from the hole or anything like that. The stone is going to do two things. It's going to mostly be compacted on placement, and that can be anywhere from 90 to 96% compacted just on placement. So even without compacting it, and then it's still going to allow the water to move through. So
permeable.
The stone isn't going to migrate with the water. So something like sand or dirt, if there's water present, if there's water moving, it's going to move with that water. So that's where you start to have the issues of voids and sinking and displacement and those types of things. So stone is key. We want stone under the pool and stone around the entire pool. So
properly placed, properly packed, and proper material.
Yeah.
Right? Every step is important. And remember about the chipstone is going to let the water drain.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, so chipstone, the difference there is what we mean is, instead of talking like just river rock or pea stone or something like that, that's just round and has a tendency to move a little bit more, a chipstone is going to stand on itself a little bit better. So if you can find a chipstone or something like that, limestone, again, here's where we get into what's available in your area.
Yeah.
So
the dealers know what is required and what we prefer.
Yeah.
We do offer some of them some leniency on it, so it just depends on where they're at.
The landlord. Yeah. All right, we have Prasad. Thank you. I was told a fiberglass pool is not right type of pool for snowy areas like Michigan because it will just pop out of the ground. They also say that Michigan does not have many dealers that does repair maintenance. Is that true?
This is a poor sales pitch.
Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Good call.
They
Good
don't
call.
want you to buy fiberglass because maybe they have vinyl liner or gunite or plastic pools. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm all for saying advantages and disadvantages and basically putting the information out in front of the potential pool buyer so that they can make their own decision.
Right.
Talking negatively about the other, we don't recommend that at all. So I would say
Right.
no issue having a fiberglass pool. I installed a few in Michigan. They installed them up in Canada. No issues with the weather or anything like that. If they're installed properly, then you have no concerns, no issues. I just one time I had heard someone had told me, is it true that every 4 or 5 years you have to pull it out of the ground and put it back in? No, not true at all.
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
funny some of the things that we have heard out there over the years.
Fiberglass only pop out of the ground.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, so
But in general, I do think Michigan has predominantly always been a vinyl market, so there
Yeah.
probably aren't as many just fiberglass pool experts or people that are passionate about fiberglass. But it's coming, and you could be the first one to own one.
look at
Get
that.
online. All right, the next question is from Magdalene. Okay, can the pool contractor determine the additional excavation and hauling prior to starting a project so it can be added to the cost?
Yes.
I didn't
Yes,
know
they
that
can.
one.
So it depends on if they've been to the site, right?
Yeah, I
So
was gonna say on-site evaluation probably needs to happen.
yeah, a lot of people right now, a lot of dealers and even a lot of homeowners, you let some things pass because it's so busy. You're just excited to have someone even give you a call back,
yeah,
let alone give you
yeah.
a price, let alone come out to the job site. So if they do an on-site evaluation, and even if they don't, like if you've done enough projects and you have a general idea of what it's going to be, then you can kind of build numbers in for all that stuff. But some builders are turnkey and some builders are not. So if you're getting a builder who's turnkey, they're going to include all that stuff. If you're getting a builder who's just going to come by and set the pool for you and get it backfilled and running, but they're not going to do landscape, they're not going to do yard repair, they're not going to do irrigation, they're not going to export the dirt,
Right.
then all of those numbers may not be included. So this goes back to that conversation again. Have that conversation. Know all the different people that you're talking to, what's included, what's not included, what's it going to look like when they're done, what things do you have to do after they're done. Just have the conversation. That's the best way to
Yeah,
know.
don't assume anything
Mm-hmm.
and don't expect anything. If it's not on the bid, chances are it's not included. Just like with your dirt haul question, some of them may include dirt haul, some of them may not. Some of them may say, "Oh, I only include 2 loads." Well, what are you going to do with the other 2 loads? So definitely just have those questions and don't assume that they're putting your yard back together. They're doing a finished grade.
Yeah.
That's not always included.
Right, and if you're hiring out the pavers, or if you're hiring out the concrete work, or whatever the patio is going to be, if
good point.
you haven't had that conversation with the person installing the pool, they have no idea what the requirements are going to be for making sure the grade is at the proper elevation for that 12-foot patio versus that 20-foot patio versus the 3-foot. So all of that goes into what's the total project going to look like. And only when you know that will they know how much dirt you need or don't need, or if you have to export or import. So you have to know that whole thing.
And Jonathan, that sounds like it's scaring them, but actually all you have to do is communicate with them
Right.
and ask all these questions, and then you'll be happy at the end.
Yep.
All right, Mallory, do you guys sell and deliver your fiberglass shells direct? Allowing self-installation? No, unfortunately no.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we kind of hit on that a little bit already, right?
Yeah, Mallory, you're probably the 4th person that's asked that question today. We've asked them. I
Yes.
get phone calls almost every day, several times a day, and I know it's frustrating. I know the position that everyone is in, and they're wanting their pool, and they're wanting it quickly, and they're trying to come up with a way to do it. And unfortunately, we just do not sell direct to the public. You do have to go through a dealer.
And
Yep.
Mallory, in a way, we are protecting you. All right.
Good point.
Okay, Jason, how has supply chain disruption affected demand for new pools, including both time and cost?
Jason.
Great question.
Jason, I mean, the industry has
Crazy.
its challenges for sure. So I feel pretty confident where Thursday's been in this, and I know we've worked really hard on making sure that our manufacturing process has not been disrupted. Having said that, from the pool builders that I do talk to, I know that it has elongated their typical installation times because they aren't able to get the standard equipment that was usually readily available to just go pick up at a moment's notice. So they can't finish the projects as quickly as they could have in the past.
And and as you say, Annie, the major thing that is happening right now, they did pay for what you give the amount of money before, but what's happening is like they have that money paid, but there's back in order a lot of items, and then that's why they cannot finish or install your pool. This year, you be patient because all these things that are happening in the industry or actually in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot find even amenities and you cannot find appliances. Everything is back or order because of the demand. Then just be patient with that.
And from a cost standpoint, I know they're seeing a lot of cost increase on their normal materials, whether it's concrete or whether it's PVC.
Yeah, and efficiencies. So for me, coming from an installer background again, you're figuring to be able to get in there and do certain things in a certain number of days, and then be able to kind of move on to the next project. And honestly, you're counting on that same thing.
Right.
And when there's holdups on every single aspect, from the pumps to the filter to concrete availability to
cover pumps
the motor for the cover pump, all of that stuff. So that holds up everyone, including you and the builder. And the builder didn't account to be there for an extra month because they're waiting on these things to trickle in and all that. So it's not good for anyone. Be patient, I guess, and understanding with your builder. They're wanting to finish. It's not benefiting them at all for your project to be hanging out there and be incomplete. They would love to be able to finish that for you. So there's just a lot of things that are really hard to get right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we have these questions a lot, but I'm going to repeat it. Cost of the pools have dramatically increased in the past year, making them too expensive for many will-be buyers. Will prices come back down to pre-COVID levels?
Pilar says no.
I'd say no.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing goes up and down is gasoline
Yeah.
or Bitcoin. What else? Or, I don't know, gold and silver. But after that, once goes up, never goes down. I wish, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is generally the case.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you guys have probably seen a dramatic increase in the cost of pools, but, it's not just from a demand standpoint, I guess, so to speak. I mean, they are actually seeing significant, price increases on their materials. So they are probably passing that on. So, I know some people feel like, oh my gosh, they're just jacking up the price because they can. And, they can, because they can be a little bit choosy about what projects they take on and where they take them on at, and that's worth it, worth something for them. But they are seeing significant price increases in their material costs.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it has all reflected with things that happening in this past year with COVID plus environmental too. Like we all know what happened in San Antonio.
Yeah,
I
Texas.
mean, in Texas, all Texas. I mean, 22,000 pools that were ruined at the same time. Then what is going to happen? I need plumbing. I need systems. I
Right.
need that. They're all back in order. I mean, this is happening. I mean, there's more events that they happen to contribute to
Right.
that, right?
Yeah, there were supply issues before
Right,
Texas.
yeah.
I mean, last year installing, there was already difficult to try to get everything, and there were delays. A month or two on certain products. So 2 or 3 months now, delay is not
Right.
a question at all. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Madeline again. She's asking, what are the usual payments terms for a fiberglass pool contractor?
Usual, what they're going to need to cover are all the things that they're going to have to pay for ahead of time. So, being so far out, they're going to have to cover the cost of the pool. They're going to have to cover the payment for the automatic cover. They're going to have to cover the payment for the pump system and all of the pool equipment. So all of those things, in order to get in line, to get that material in that 6 month, 1 year, 1.5 year, whatever lead time it is for them, they have to pay that money up front. And so they're requiring that money from you because it's being required of them. So for us, it was 60%. We did only fiberglass pools. And so I think Annie had some experience with maybe liner pools, and maybe their costs are a little bit different, so their percentages might be different. But the general concept was for us, 60% at the time of contract signing, 35% after concrete. Basically, the project is done and you just got some final cleanings and all that. And then that last final percent, is always there for you guys as the homeowners to make sure that everything is complete. You've had your pool school, you know what a pump is, you know how to clean your filter, you know how to clean your pool, you know what your water chemistry should be. After all of that stuff is done and you're happy, then that last 5%. Right.
And to Jonathan's point, so if you are comparing it to somebody down the road who's selling you a vinyl pool, I know when I sold vinyl, our draw schedule was 30 with the contract, 30, 30, 30, 10. And then when we sold a fiberglass pool, it was 60, 30, 10. So it is dramatically different with the fiberglass pool contract because the cost of the pool shell is pretty significant, and transportation. So they have to pay us up front. So, they're going to get that from you.
Yeah, I think everyone's aware that everyone likes to have a little bit of a cushion or something at the end to just make sure that project is complete. And I think that's where percentages make it a little bit difficult, because if you're doing a $50,000 project versus a $100,000 project, the percent aspect may or may not apply. But 3,000, maybe 5,000 or something as kind of a last payment for that's plenty for them to want to come back and finish. Saving 10,000 at the end or something, that hasn't even covered all of their expenses most of the time. No, so
they're cosmetic things.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We have another question. Will the salt damage the pool over time? We already kind of talked about that, right?
I mean, the salt itself, no. The salt is corrosive, and so it wants to eat anything that's metal. There is no metal in a fiberglass pool, so there's nothing to damage the pool itself. You do an automatic cover.
I was going to say, I think you should rinse out the tracks. Technically, you're supposed to rinse out your cover tracks, things like that.
Yeah, the automatic cover.
Handrails, you may have some
is aluminum or something.
I don't know what's all.
It should all be marine grade materials or aluminum or something like that. But yes, absolutely. And just for proper maintenance on those automatic covers, to take your garden hose and just rinse out that track where that rope or guide wire is going through, all that is good. Just to answer the question directly, though, no, the salt itself won't damage the pool over time. What will damage the pool over time is not managing the chlorine that's being produced. Yes, not managing the water chemistry overall. Generally the pH tends to go high with the salt system and an automatic cover and a fiberglass pool. So now you're always putting things in to lower that pH, making sure you understand what that should be, what that's going to do to your water chemistry. Right. So salt itself, not bad, but there are things to consider. So I, again, as I've recommended a lot, is talk to your dealer specifically to see what they're comfortable with. You don't want to ask them to do something that they're not comfortable with. If they aren't comfortable with salt, then have them explain to you why. And probably I would lean towards whatever direction they would want to go towards, because that's what they're familiar with. That's what they're going to be able to, correct if there's issues. So I would have that conversation again.
Yep.
All right, good. Okay, we have another question. It is true you can buy a pool heater that is also capable of cooling the water? Equipment pad and how well do they perform and hold up the cost?
Well, I have a heater chiller option, and I'm telling you, Jonathan thinks I'm crazy, but I love it.
Not crazy.
And I have been shocked how often I've been in the pool, and it is cold water coming out
jacuzzi.
of the, so I'm in love with my heater chiller option, and I would recommend it. It's a heat pump, so it does work a little bit differently than like a gas heater, so it doesn't heat up your pool really quickly in the spring when you might want it to, but I love it.
We don't have pricing, just to respond to that. We don't have pricing on how much it costs, but I love it. can just put the temperature that I like and maintain all day long the temperature that I want. I did it once. I didn't go in there without using it, and because you have your auto cover closed and you're supposed to open it every day, I didn't do it for 3 days. I opened my pool and it was 102 degrees.
Typical homeowner.
Yes, yes, yes.
You were working
That's why
so
I
hard.
related so much with them, you know. And yes, keep in mind that. All right.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is, so you're comparing basically an electric heat pump to a gas heater. So advantages, disadvantages, depends on if you're the type of person who's going to change that thermostat all the time, go with gas. If you're going to set it and forget it, then go with the electric heat pump. So the electric heat pump is more efficient. It costs more upfront to purchase it. I would say at least $1,000 or $1,500 or more,
yeah,
just ballpark, ballpark. And then the gas, its benefit is we were maybe crazy. I don't know. At March, April, we were getting that pool open and we were heating it up to 90 degrees when it was 50 outside.
Right.
So
when
that
we weren't.
so that we could swim.
Yeah.
And then the same thing
Yeah.
in October and November. We wanted to swim as long as possible. The gas will allow you to do that. The heat pump, as soon as it's 50 degrees outside,
55.
It's kind of at its limit.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So a heat pump does work off the ambient air temperature. So like Pilar said, it may be like 55 degrees is when it can starting to warm up the water. So it may be a little.
And so in summary, only with the heat pump can it also potentially perform as a chiller. I think there may be like aftermarket chillers that can work in conjunction with a gas heater. They're totally separate units, but I think there may be those out there also.
Wow. Okay, I think we're running out of time. I'm just going to say one more question.
Okay.
Can a fiberglass pool be installed with a retaining wall?
Yes.
Yes.
Done.
That was easy.
Oh, yay!
I did see it. So
I just want to say something.
Yeah.
If we didn't finish because we have a good audience, and if we have a lot of questions, feel free to email us or call us, and we can chat with you and respond for the questions that all of you did. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah. I don't have any other questions or answers or.
We don't have time. Time is up.
Yeah. Anything? You got any wrapping up thoughts? Oh, you know what? I do want to point out. Sorry. The most important thing, for pool buyers is just to be comfortable and confident with the pool builder that you select.
Right.
So I think we would all agree on that. So make sure you do your research. You ask your friends. Word of mouth referrals are the absolute best. Probably we've always felt that way.
This is a long-term relationship.
Yes.
What's the point of a lifetime pool if the person who put it in for you is gone?
That's right.
And what I mean by that is, again, if there's ever any questions, you need to be able to communicate with them, and they respond, and you feel comfortable with them. So
Go for it.
Having a relationship with them is extremely important.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. We really enjoyed having
Thank you.
today. Till next time.
And that's the end of the show. Thank you for watching Ask the Pool Experts. If you have any more questions, contact Thursday Pools today.